What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So we know over the last couple of years, Call of Duty has sort of strayed away from the realistic milsim sort of style game that we used to know and love. And I know more recently they've done collaborations like Beavis and Butthead, Ninja Turtles, started bringing unrealistic crossovers and wacky cel-shaded skins that not many people are fans of. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are people who are fans of this type of stuff, and I do read the comments. Some of you guys did enjoy the Beavis and Butthead crossover and some of the other things that they brought. And speaking of crossovers, the Season 5 Reloaded update actually goes live next week, and that means there's going to be a new crossover, which usually in Reloaded is always the big crossover that includes the event pass, limited time modes, and much more coming in alongside that. Now, what's very interesting is usually the Friday before Call of Duty does the roadmap and the update and all of that, the first thing that they will market is usually the crossover. If you guys recall, before we ended up seeing like Ninja Turtles being marketed Friday, right before that week, and then also Squid Games the Friday right before that week, Beavis and Butthead, same sort of thing. This time around, for the first time so far in Black Ops 6's life cycle, it seems like today they didn't really market anything at all, and I believe that probably has to do with the current sentiment of Call of Duty, the fact that people are already complaining about quite a couple of things that are going wrong with the game right now. The server's literally shutting down yesterday, which I did talk about and cover in the last video, and that I feel like maybe tells them, you know what, it's not a good time to market the next crossover, especially if it's going to be a crazy, wacky one, which at the moment, I'm sorry guys, I have no idea what this crossover could potentially be. I've heard rumors, some people saying that the crossover might have to do with like 90 superheroes. Not entirely sure how accurate that is, but the point is it's probably going to be a little wacky. Now, quick word from our sponsor, Mitch Cactus. It's a store that can get you the most exclusive operators, help you unlock the Black Ops 6 Mastery camos such as Dark Matter, Abyss, and Nebula. And if you want to hit Master Prestige even faster, they can also help you out with that. They don't use unlock tools or mods, so you know it's 100% legitimate, and they have over 10,000 verified reviews on Trustpilot. You can use code Chidzo for a 5% discount. The link will be down in the description. Let's take a step back and look at what Call of Duty was saying about these skins when they got that negative feedback at the start of Black Ops 6's life cycle. So they replied and they said, Treyarch says crazy skins will continue in Call of Duty. Fun always comes first for us. We want to stay grounded in the DNA that makes a Black Ops game unique when it comes to core gameplay, but we also like to break the rules if it comes to maximizing fun for players. And that is when they were asked, why are you bringing wacky skins into Black Ops 6? And they really started that with like the first update that they did, and that was their response to this. They were like, you know what, we're going to continue doing this, and we like what we're adding to the game. And basically, they didn't really acknowledge players, and this was back on December 11th of 2024, shortly after Black Ops 6 released. I believe it was like around the Season 1 update around that time. Now then later on, they also said this. Raven tells IGN they do not intend to restrict crazy skins in Warzone. So they were asked in an interview by IGN, and they said part of that was respecting player purchases. We could have restricted weapons and operators, but then it creates this big friction moment for players. I know some players might want more of a stance on it, like I want to be pure milsim, but the spirit was to make it more welcoming for all players. And this was posted around 4 months ago when they did this interview on April 14th. So you can see where their stance was leading up to everything that ended up happening. Now, after that, Battlefield 6 came out, all the hype for it, and then they also interviewed the devs, and Charlie Intel said, Battlefield devs have commented on skins in-game compared to Call of Duty. And they said, quote, it has to be grounded. This is what Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 was. It was all soldiers on the ground. It's going to be like this. I don't think it needs Nicki Minaj. Let's keep it real and keep it grounded. That was literally the Battlefield 6 devs' reply to them adding wacky skins to the game. Now, as soon as they said that, there was the shift to where all the Call of Duty players who wanted the realistic sort of stuff were now, you know, jumping into Battlefield 6's sort of hype, and they were now saying, okay, Call of Duty, since you don't want to listen to us, you don't want to, you know, stop and at least maybe add like a skin filter or something along those lines for those of us who don't want to see these operators running around, then that's fine. I'll just go play Battlefield 6. And pretty much as a result of all the negativity that just continuously added up, Call of Duty finally changed their mind, because more recently, this was on August 19th, so just 10 days ago. So when creators were invited out by Treyarch to play Black Ops 7 early, some of the creators asked them about these wacky skins and what their thoughts on them were, and Charlie Intel said Activision confirmed during our visit to Treyarch last week that they are fully aware of the feedback on how cosmetics look in Call of Duty, and they are taking it into account for the future. Now, IGN actually ended up doing an interview and asked them about this, and they said in an interview with IGN, Associate Creative Director Miles responded to a question on whether fans can expect to see these kinds of designs in upcoming titles. And he said, having thought about this, he explained that the team is always looking at community feedback. So, quote, we always try to make sure that we are trying to touch the widest audience. I've had the pleasure of working on Call of Duty now for almost 20 years, and we're constantly looking at ways to push into different audiences and fans, and that's what you saw with that. These are fans that really love it, he added. And then he says he's aware that there are fans who it may not be their favorite. That said, he assured players that the team is going to try and calibrate that as they move forward and take that feedback seriously. Ultimately, he stressed, but again, we are trying to make sure all fans feel represented in the game, and figuring out that tight balance is something we are paying attention to. As many players have already pointed out, one of the main reasons with some crossovers is that they feel cartoonish in a game like Call of Duty. This is very different from Fortnite, which has a stylized look instead of a more realistic and gritty style, which sort of fits their theme a little more than what it would for Call of Duty. And the thing about this is it didn't stop there, because they actually ended up dropping the August community update, if you guys recall, and this is what they said within it. Your feedback matters. In Black Ops 7, bundles and items will be crafted to fit the Black Ops identity. We hear the feedback. We need to deliver a better balance towards the immersive core Call of Duty experience. And basically what they're saying is they know they strayed a little far away, bringing in things like American Dad, Beavis and Butthead, Ninja Turtles, and they're going to sort of relax on that, and they're going to have a better balance of crossovers they're going to bring in. Obviously, crossovers bring money for Call of Duty. We can all acknowledge that. We know that Call of Duty is a business, so they're going to continue doing crossovers. But the main thing is crossovers with who? They can do some realistic ones. I mean, for example, Terminator, obviously not realistic, but it was a crossover that people weren't even upset at. It was something that people liked to see in Call of Duty. They were very happy with it, and they didn't really have a problem with it. But then when they started introducing the cartoons, the cel-shaded stuff, that's when I feel like it just brought in all the negativity. Now, this could potentially mean Black Ops 7 might have more realistic operators going forward and not bring in wacky, crazy-looking skins. Another idea is introducing that skin filter that we've talked about in the past, giving the opportunity for players to go into their settings and applying the skin filter, so that way they see realistic milsim operators instead of seeing like American Dad or whatever. And if people want to purchase those types of skins, they have the freedom to do so. And that, in my opinion, could be a win-win situation. And what they could do when they introduce this setting is just have it off by default. So if you want to actually not see these skins, you'll have to go out of your way, go into the settings and actually enable the filter and turn it on, so that way you don't see this stuff. So like a regular casual who couldn't care less about this type of stuff, they won't get impacted at all, because they have to go into settings to turn on the filter in the first place. So at the end of the day, I think that's a win-win situation, and the casuals that they're trying to attract and get them to buy skins, then they're going to be the ones who probably don't even know this setting exists in the first place, and they could just simply continue playing as normal. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Should they introduce a skin filter, or should they just all around in total calm down on the crazy and wacky skins? What are your thoughts and opinions? But anyways, that is all that I have for you guys here in today's video. I just wanted to touch up and talk about this because they just didn't market what this crossover is going to be. So I'm curious to see, are they going to market it maybe on Monday? Is it going to come out maybe later tonight or later today? Or are they just going to wait until the crossover is about to release before they announce it or mention it, and just maybe mention it in the roadmap? But anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys back on the channel again. Peace.